have never had a talk back that long. We always do talk backs because we always write about the serious stuff, but we've never had a talk back that was that long. Like the people wanted to stay. Like it's like they didn't want to leave. I have never seen that. I have never seen it since we've been doing this.
I made it come up. I made it come up. I made it come up. Welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of Interviews with Your Brandman. I am your Brandman, and ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know that she is one part of a dynamic duo called the Collective Mic. They are such a talented group that has just been wrecking stages in Philly since I have been wrecking stages in Philly. They have been a force to be known, and I have been so blessed to be able to work with them on the last Jasai Theatre Festival, where they pretty much rocked out a sold-out show and killed it. And they coming back around to do it again and again and again and again and again. Y'all, give it up for one half of the Collective Mic, Miss Jody Austin. Give it up. Nice big round of applause. Thank you. Wherever you are, show them some love, because these sisters really deserve it. They work really hard. You're about to go into a rehearsal this evening. You still cranking it up. But Jody, for the people that may not know you or know you and Tiffany's story, please introduce yourselves. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the Collective Mic.
Okay. So I am Jody, true story, Austin. I came on the scene in the poetry world. That's where Tiffany and I have I guess you can call that our backbone. Okay. My earliest entries into the arts is through my mother.
Amen.
From childhood. My mom is still a poet, and she's also a playwright as well. I had a very eclectic childhood.
Okay.
She always had me busy in something. My mom was a single parent, and she was determined for me to be successful. And, you know how you grow up hearing the old saying, idle hands are the devil's.
Yes. Idle's mind is the devil's work.
Yeah. Well, they live by that. That's for sure. I was always, they kept me busy. They kept me active in sports. They kept me active in the arts. When I was growing up, like my bedtime stories were Nikki Giovanni, Sonia Sanchez, stories about Angela Davis. Like to this day, she's my idol. And those were my bedtime stories, like the poetry and stuff. But my personal entry into the arts started with music.
Okay.
It started with music. At 6 years old, I started playing the clarinet. And it wasn't just a passing fancy. I played it all my life into my 20s.
Wow.
And I still play. And
wow, I was just going to ask, do you still play?
Yes. And over the years, I played quite a few woodwinds. So clarinet is a woodwind. I also started playing alto saxophone because I wanted to be Charlie Parker. I wanted to be John Coltrane. And on my dad's side of the family, like I come from a music family. So my aunt was a jazz singer. She sang with the great Dizzy Gillespie. She was friends with John Coltrane. She was friends with Charlie Parker. Wow. She ran in all those circles. Wow. Whenever Charlie Parker came to Philadelphia, he stayed with my family.
Wow. Oh, so yes. you were very much so around, like you said, you were eclectic.
Around music, yes.
Wow. So we're already here. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about young Jody. Let's talk about Jody's bringing up. And were you born and raised here in Philadelphia?
Born and raised in Philadelphia.
Okay. So let's talk about that. You already started talking about how your mom was, around all of these greats. So walk us through that.
My aunt was.
Yeah.
So growing up around my aunt, and this was my great aunt, this was my grandmother's sister.
Okay.
There was always a jam session at her house.
Wow.
There was always discussions about the jazz greats and all of her influences, her singing influences. So, I mean, that's what I grew up around. So naturally, I gravitated toward the music. I was taught how to read and write music at an early age. I played in band all through high school and junior high school. I was on choir too. But music was such a huge part of my life, huge part. And then as I evolved, like I decided to join the military after high school. I did 2 years of college, but then I went into the military. Okay. I kind of sort of walked away from the music for a little while because it was all I really knew.
And you wanted to experience something different?
Different.
Is that why you went to the military?
No, I went into the military because, well, what drove me in the military is my father became ill. When I did 2 years of college first, I was biology. I was going to be a pre-med major. I was going to transfer to Temple and go to med school. But in the interim of all of that, my father became, terminally ill. And instead of going to school, I started going to see him and taking care of him. And one day, one of the last things, I would say it's probably one of the last things that he said to me was, you know what, you will make a really great nurse. And I looked at him and I said, you know what, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I switched my path, and because I was going to see him so much, I was put on academic probation. I wasn't going to class, so I was going to see him.
Wow, got you.
So then it became, now how am I going to go to school?
Yeah.
You lose your financial aid and all that stuff. So I had a classmate that used to talk about the Air Force all the time. He used to talk about the Air Force Reserves. Oh, you should be a flight medic. You can see the rest of the world and you can pay for your education. I was like, pay for my education. Initially, I was like, no way, I'm not joining the military. But then, my back was up against the wall because, in my household, you had to be working and you had to be in school. Mm-hmm. And the school situation got hazy. And I was like, oh, no, what am I going to do? So I called the recruiter, and then that began my journey in the military.
Wow. How long was that? How long did that go for?
I retired from the military in 2008.
Oh, wow. So it went on for a pretty long time.
21 years. Yeah, I served for 21 years.
Well, thank you for your service, for sure.
Thank you. So that was my entry level into the medical profession. I am a registered nurse by profession. Okay. But there's still always, even though I sort of silenced the creative side, like I was still writing, but never sharing. I was still playing music and not sharing. You know, I had kind of put it down somewhat.
Yeah.
So one day, I guess about around 2010 or 11 or something, a mutual friend of Tiffany and I, because we didn't know each other. Most people think we've known each other all of our lives, but we just...
You would really think so. The way you guys collaborate and work together is such a beautiful mesh. It really is.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
We didn't meet until 2011 through poetry.
Wow. So let's walk us through that meeting. Walk us through the first time you met Tiffany. Like, walk us through that. Like, Where were you guys at? What was it? Poetry slam? What part of the city? Tell us about that story.
So a mutual friend of ours at the time, his name was Aaron Jackson. He has started a movement. It really was a movement called Word Flow. All the poets all over the city started coming. Yeah. But what I really loved about Word Flow was, the support, the camaraderie, the creative energy, was that it was really meant for like beginners, like beginner poets. Although I had been writing, I had never shared. So my first time on a mic was at Word Flow.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I can't believe I just did that.
and so because before then you were just playing the clarinet, you were playing a lot of instruments, it seemed like a lot of music. Yeah.
Music. So, I was writing poetry, but I had never shared it.
And so this was your first time. Give us a timestamp for this so people can get an idea of this.
It was about 2011, 2012. That was the first time I ever did it.
Wow. And what was the response like? What was the response like? And then what was your response like? What was your like?
It was great. It was very well received. I was a nervous wreck. Aaron stood at the mic with me for my first time. I was petrified. I never did like public speaking anyway, but I just finally wanted to do it. And it felt good afterwards. So like, it felt like a purge. It felt like like I got it out there.
As all art does, as all art does. When you get on that stage and you get it out, you want more, don't you? It's a quick dopamine rush.
Yeah, and that's what it was. And so Wordflow ran for quite some time. And so one night Tiffany came. A fellow poet brought her. Mm-hmm. And I used to help out, like, signing people in, putting people on the sign up list and stuff like that. And I was busy, like just doing busy work. And I heard her and I looked up, I was like, wow, she sounds like she really knows what she's doing. Cause like I said, like Wordflow was kind of more for beginners.
Yeah.
You hear somebody go up there that's like, it sounded like they've been doing it all their lives.
Oh, yeah, she sounded like she was straight from Def Poetry Jam. Like, she came with the goods.
Oh, she sounded like she know what she's doing. And
she came with the goods, gotcha.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow, she's like really good. So a fellow poet had introduced us and we just spoke or whatever. And then, we just all sort of started hanging out for a while. And then Aaron had started a Facebook group called Wordflow as well. And it was like a safe space, a private group, a safe space for poets to share their poetry. And she was a part of the group too. She was an admin. I was an admin. And at a point, Aaron wanted to wrap up Wordflow, but we wanted to continue doing it. Mm-hmm. And so she and I we sat down and figured out, okay, well, what can we call the next poetry group? How can we keep this thing going? Because we need this thing in our lives.
Wow.
So that evolved from Wordflow was Family Poetry Collective.
Okay.
And we created another safe space where poets can share their work, no judgment, and then I started learning structured poetry. Okay. Just learning different forms of poetry. Mm-hmm. It just really opened up my world to poetry and more creative writing.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from Tiffany in that way too. So then we started sort of teaching it in the group. And then we would do these challenges for National Poetry Month, which is every April.
Love it.
And we would do challenges, write a poem a day for National Poetry Month.
Wow.
Then we decided, well, let's see if we can have our own open mic.
Okay.
So we started our own open mic.
Wow.
And we were at La Rose on Germantown and, oh gosh, I forget the intersection, but it's right near Germantown and Shelton. So we were at La Rose for years. We were at La Rose for like probably 6 years.
And were you still operating as a family collective at this time?
We operated as the Family Poetry Collective, but then we evolved a different name for the open mic, which was it became the Collective Mic.
Collective Mic. And give us a timestamp for when that evolution occurred. So how long were you the Family Poetry Collective? And then, when you transitioned into the Collective Mic?
It was kind of fast. Okay. So we evolved, I would say Family Poetry Collective started in 2012. The open mic evolved in 2013. And we were doing so good that by 2014, we became an LLC.
Nice.
And, there's a poetry spot on every corner in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
But we created our own niche.
Mm-hmm.
A mutual friend of mine who's very influential gave me the keys to poets from Def Jam Poetry.
It's beautiful how you took that from that one step from just opening your mouth on this stage, blossom into this and what God has for you in the arts. And he really kind of brought you back full circle. Full circle. Wow. So you got the LLC form, you got the plug-in with Def Poetry Jam.
Yes.
Yeah, and so talk about that evolution, how that, that's beautiful that it just grew like that and you were able to form your LLC. Also like the part of the story of you guys seeing what works and how this thing worked out. And then you built the business around what works. Most times people build a business and then create something and expect people just to show up. But you've already built your audience out, you built your fan base out, and then you got people showing up to your events. And so you have a reason to build an LLC. And I think that's a very good part of your story that I don't want to miss. And I don't want people to miss at all.
Yeah, because I saw how it was evolving. And I said, because like, this is our platform, our springboard. We can really go like whatever direction we want to go in, which has been a part of our evolution. But like, featuring those Def Jam poets became a huge part of our niche.
Blessings, big dreamers. I am Jared, and I am your brand man. Just over 1 year ago, we were celebrating our first ever Jasai Enterprise Theatre Festival. It was a remarkable collaboration, bringing together some of Philly's best actors, playwrights, directors, and producers. To honor this anniversary, we're going deeper. In this series of interviews with your brand man, I am showcasing the incredible artists that made this theater festival happen. Discover their stories, their inspiration, and their unwavering pursuit for their big dreams.
My mom actually casted me in my first role. I played King Herod.
Hear firsthand how they overcome challenges and remain dedicated to their craft.
Speak in front of people. I could dance in front of people, but speaking, remember lines, that was never something that I wanted to do.
Join me in these one-on-one conversations and interviews with your brand man as we go behind the stage of the Jasai Enterprise Theatre Festival. Can't wait to see you there.
And it was just so synergistic and serendipitous the way it worked out. It was just crazy. Like, I couldn't believe I was on the phone with Def Jam poets that I saw on TV, because that was like a dream come true, because I grew up watching that.
Yeah.
So just to be able to have that opportunity, that was just...
So were these poets now a part of the Collective Mic? Did they come out and share?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They came, they featured, we've had Black Ice. On Black Ice, we've had Queen Sheba, we've had KO, we've had the Twins, they were on Def Jam, KO was on Def Jam. And then here's another serendipitous story. So we were looking at an anniversary show. I want to say, it was our 1 year anniversary show. And I said, I don't even know how we can top all the features that we brought. So at this time, the Arsenio Hall show was still going on.
Okay.
Arsenio Hall had a poet on his show. That was the first poet. Arsenio Hall doesn't get the props that he should get, because he's a lot of Black artists starts. He is the first talk show host to ever bring a poet on.
Wow, did not know that.
Yes.
Wow.
He actually made it a thing, because now you see more poets in commercials, doing commercials.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there watching the show that night, and I'm seeing this poet, and he was absolute fire. I said, man, that would be so dope if I could have him for our show. Now this man's in LA on TV with Arsenio on. Okay, so I guess I manifested it, but I saw the show. It was close to the holidays. Right after the show, one of my cousins plays on my dad's side. Like I said, I come from a musical family. One of my cousins plays for the OJs. Many, many years he played for Patty, and then he switched over to the OJs. He's their guitarist.
Okay.
Well, he always brings a show back to his hood in North Philly. He brings artists and does this huge block party and stuff. So I went. I have a couple of cousins that are in California that happened to be up for the holiday, and they were at the block party. So one of my younger cousins, he's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I'm good. How you doing? How's Oakland going? He's like, it's great, and blah, blah, blah. And so he says, how's the poetry going? I was like, it's going pretty good. We got our shows, we're trying to get together maybe, an anniversary show, our first anniversary show. He's like, oh, cool. He's like, one of my homies, one of my frat brothers he's a poet too. He said, you might have heard of him. I said, really? For some reason, I got tingly on the inside. I just had this.
Here we go. The law of attraction. It was that law of attraction tingling.
It was so divine. It was divine.
Of course it was.
And I said, who's your friend? He said, you probably heard him. His name is PJ. I said, PJ? I said, as in Prentice Powell? He said, yeah. I said, I just saw him on the Arsenio Hall show. He said, yeah, that's my boy. That's my frat brother.
Wow.
I said, cousin, stop, pause. I saw the show and I said, I wish I could have somebody like him at our show. He said, I can make that happen. I said, you want to stop playing with me?
So he showed up.
Call him.
Wow.
I will call him for you. I will get you in contact. PJ and I were talking within 24 hours.
Wow.
I booked PJ that night. Well, I'm allowed to call him PJ if you know. Prentice Powell. I booked the Prentice Powell within 24 hours.
Wow. And did he do it? Was it a paid stipend gig?
Yes, my cousin helped me get him here. And he said, I'll help you get him here. I took care of his lodging, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Transportation. And when I tell you we had standing room, we packed.
Wow.
And it was his first feature in Philly. He hadn't even performed in Philly yet.
Wow. And Philly's this place to be for the art. Wow. So you guys packed that joint out. Okay. That's such an amazing story. I really hope, and that's why I do these interviews, because I want people to see people like us, that are in the trenches, and not necessarily, I think we're all big. And I love Philly because I call it a little big city. We all know we all know everybody through somebody, especially in the art scene. And I think it's necessary and imperative for us to come together and be a collective. It's necessary for us to share resources because I was just doing an interview and we were talking about this where, we have to all the artists have to go to New York, now Atlanta, or LA, and we really have to travel outside of Philly when so
to make
much
our name. We have to leave our city to make our name.
We have to leave our city to make our name. And it's just like the greatest thing about it is, though, by the time a lot of the big people that from Philly, they've already made their name in Philly, and like you hit a ceiling, and so you can't do but so much. But thank God for the internet, we're able to build our niches out and kind of filter out a little bit more. But I do this because you guys, you follow your dream, and I'm all about, big dreaming, as you know. And so you follow your dream and the law of attraction just starts hitting at you guys, and you find Tiffany, you find, your way into the poetry world, after just kind of opening your mouth and doing it, and then just being around, being present, being there is beautiful. And so here you are now, you built up this movement. You created a business around it. You have this killer show with this phenomenal poet on, and now you built yourself out. Let's move on to where you guys started going into the playwriting aspect of your artistic journey.
Okay, so even before I say that, I want to say that we selected our name very purposefully.
Amen. Because
we believe in a collective of artists.
Amen.
It was never just about just me or just Tiffany or just Tiffany and Jody.
Yeah.
It's about supporting other artists, bringing them into the fold, guiding people. If you have a dream you want to follow, we're going to help you. We're going to support you and help you with the tools to make that happen. Okay. And even along that journey, we even became teaching artists through Art Sanctuary. Like we've done some programming like that. So we can even do youth programming. Like we've just done all types of programming. And in the interim of that, we actually evolved. We've had 2 locations. We opened 2 art galleries.
Nice.
Off of a dream.
Praise God.
Just manifesting it. We didn't know how we were going to do it.
Wow.
But we did it.
I love it. And it got done.
And we had those, it's all about creating those safe spaces to create.
Yes.
And so that we can support each other and help grow these dreams. Exactly. Yes. So how we evolved into theater, and I always call Brother Trey, who is a local Philadelphia poet who's been on the scene since forever. And you know him, Alan Clark.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He started doing poetic theater, and he invited us to get a bird's eye view of what he was doing with his poetry. And we started going down there with him at the theater, and he started teaching me tech, started teaching Tiffany how to direct, teaching me how to direct, teaching us how to produce. And after, a couple of runs with him, I said to Tiffany, I said, I don't know about you, but I think I got the theater bug. And she said, me too. I'm glad you said that.
I love it.
Because so much, we realized like that it was such a good fit for us because we do so much of our storytelling through the poetry.
Amen. Yes.
We tell a million stories in poetry.
Yes, you do.
And we sat down and started learning how to write plays. Like we weren't formally educated on it, but we've taken workshops, we've done workshops, and we've learned the process.
Amen.
But Alan was our first mentor, and we've had the bug, and we've been running with it ever since.
Wow. So what was your very first play that you put on?
My very first play, which was selected in my very first theater festival, like the very first submission, and how that evolved. My very first play was My Sister's Keeper. Okay. It evolved from a panel, a poetry panel of women with different themes and topics to talk about, and they had poetry that went with it. And it's a panel about all the things that women experience, from growth to domestic violence to just an evolution into womanhood, the different stages. So there's different topics. So we first produced that. There was a festival. It's like one of the country's oldest, longest running festivals. And oh Lord, I'm losing the name of it right now because they haven't done anything in a while, especially since COVID. But they used to do it in conjunction with Temple University. Temple University was their host, and so we had entered My Sister's Keeper, the panel, and it came with drumming and everything with the great Karen Smith. And I had convinced Tiffany to submit the dancer. She was like, "It's not a play." I said, "Well, write it as a play." Right? They selected both pieces. Nice. So after that, I said, "You know what? I'm ready to write My Sister's Keeper as a play." Nice. As a poetic play. Nice. So that was my first play. And then I decided to submit it to Think, Create, Inspire Theater Festival by Charlie.
Okay.
What's Charlie's last name?
It was Susan Charlie.
Susan Charlie, yeah. Susan Charlie. So I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, I got it. Oh my. All right, this is getting real now.
Yes.
This is getting really real. I said, oh my God. So, I casted my first full cast. I went all out. I had the regalia at the end. And it was at Venice Island. And still today, that was in 2016. That was one of the most magical nights of my entire life.
Wow. Isn't that beautiful when those things happen?
Yes. I was overwhelmed. I didn't know how I was going to fill this 250-seat theater. However, had standing room only.
I know that's right.
I was determined. I said, nobody's going to tell me no to these tickets. Y'all will come to this play.
I know that's right. Listen, and when you are following your dreams, you really have to be the ultimate hustler. You have to be. You have to be. And
nobody's going to believe in it more than you.
Period. Nobody's going to believe in it more than you, and nobody's going to support it unless you really draft them to support. And people think all the time, I have these conversations all the time, and I hear people, well, I made a post and nobody came. You made one post. I sent out an email and nobody responded. Nobody opened it up. You sent out one email. If you do things once, what do you think your result is really going to be? And we're talking, I've been doing this thing with people and selling and marketing and branding for a very long time. And it really is a highly psychological game. And
it really is.
It really is. People fail to forget that, human nature is selfish by nature. and we just want to solve our own personal problems. And so that's when to bring it back in the loop of how you guys created your business, which I found to be, very intriguing because most people don't do that. They, build their brand, and because they think that they have a sort of popularity within their small group, they feel like, oh, they're going to support it. So they go out and they spend all this money to structure their business, and then they launch something and nobody supports. But they haven't taken the time to show people that they're hungry enough for their support. And so you guys have did exactly the right track. You build something, you say, let me see if this works. Hey, it's working. Let's turn this into a business. okay, the business is booming. Let's evolve. Let's expand. Let's touch other avenues. Oh, and not only did you touch other avenues, you took the time to educate yourself. You didn't just jump into it and say, oh, I'm the master at this, so you took the time to educate yourself. You then you enter and submit into your own into theater festivals, and you get selected. So after these theater festivals, you guys went on to kind of do your own thing and touch on. So how many different theaters have you worked out of in Philadelphia alone, or just in general? Have you gone outside of the Philly? Talk about that journey.
Oh man, listen. Woo! So we pretty much been on fire since that first festival.
Amen.
We've written other works as well, and we decided. Okay, so right after that festival, we produced independently at Stagecrafters in Jasai Hill.
Okay,
which was great. That was a great experience. We produced out of there a couple of times.
Yeah, I've been to some of your shows there. Yeah.
So we're along our journey. Like, one of our next steps in our track is to find a theater home, really to dig into a theater home, a theater that we can call home. So that's the next level of the spaces that we're looking to get into. So that's kind of what we were trying to do at Stagecrafters too.
Mm-hmm.
But as we all know, it's hard for us brown faces to break some of these walls. Mm-hmm. And some of them were willing, but it's a very old theater with a very old board. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little hard, to keep trying to bust through that wall. Sometimes you just got to move on too. So
yeah.
We have produced out of the CEC as well. So that's been a great experience. Miss Shockley she's amazing. She's the woman that retires and keeps coming back and keeps coming back. but that's her love for the theater. That's her love for the theater and community. Yeah. Yes.
The journey to the best version of you is never easy. There are ups and downs, hills and valleys. But along the way, we discover ourselves in a new light. We learn to love ourselves in new ways. And we build community in new places. So when you're on the road and things feel a little tough, just remember, you are strong, powerful, beautiful. You got this.
So, we have produced out of there too, and we have done a couple of other productions out of Venice Island as well. We actually love Venice Island, but you know that. But after that, we decided we wanted to try other theater festivals outside of Philly because we were feeling like, again, back to that conversation, how you got to lead a city to make your name.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard. It is hard to get that theater support in Philly. It's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, you know what? Let's try the theater festival circuit. And so our first theater festival that we submitted to outside of Philly is She Arts.
Okay.
And we submitted one of Tiffany play. We submitted My Sister's Keeper, but they didn't select My Sister's Keeper. They selected Tiffany's play. So it doesn't matter whose play gets selected. It's all the win for all of us.
It's all the Collective Mic.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the Collective Mic LLC Poetry and All Artists Show evolved into the Collective Mic Productions.
Nice.
Since we are now a small production company.
I love it.
And we do short film too. So that's a whole nother part of the journey.
Yes, you surely have evolved into that. Yes.
So we decided to submit to She Arts, and Tiffany's play was selected for Off-Broadway. So we've actually been Off-Broadway.
Amen. I think I remember your stint in New York. Yes. Because I follow a couple of your actors, and I remember. Yep.
We were
beautiful.
Like,
Beautiful.
And then we submitted again to She Arts for LA.
Yes.
So we've been to LA. We've been to Hollywood with our stuff.
Beautiful. So tell us about that experience and going to New York and bringing your actors and bringing your crew to New York and LA. I mean, those are really big deals. And I know we talk about, wanting to stay here in Philly, but I've worked out of New York. I've worked out of LA, and it is just, and Atlanta as well. And it's a different feeling. It's a different mood. It's a different type of love. It really is.
Absolutely.
Different type of market, different type of support. And so not to say frown on anybody. As a matter of fact, I think I had this interview and we were talking about that. And we were talking about how, actors and artists have to go outside of the city. And then like my biggest advice for this one act, I was like, you need to go to LA. So right after all we said all of that, I was just like, you need to go to LA, especially if you want to dig into film. It's just where the work is. That's the difference,
I agree.
Art. We have the artists here, but we don't necessarily have the work that thinks big enough on a level that gets that attention out there. And so it is imperative for artists to travel outside of their hometowns and go to these meccas. So talk about that experience for you and for your artists and your actors. And, what was the love like? What was the reception of it all like?
It was amazing. The reception was amazing off Broadway. And we had the option of allowing them to cast her play. However, Carmel said, no, we want to bring our own actors. We want to bring our Philly actors. We want that opportunity. So we took a whole cast and crew to Off-Broadway.
Beautiful.
And we stayed up that way. And people drove from Philly to come see it, though.
Amen now. I know that's right.
It was around the corner, did you? Anyway, but they came.
Right. You said we were around the corner.
Right around the corner from where you live.
But now that we in New York, okay, I get it. Yeah, gotcha.
Right. That was crazy to me. But
for me when I'm up. Okay, but whenever you support is fine.
Yeah. So, and we had a large number of people that came from Philly.
Wow.
Like not just a couple.
Wow.
So,
but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That comes.
No, it was amazing. We were like, what? It's very humbling.
Yeah.
That somebody believes in our work like that.
Yeah, but I forget. I'm forgetting all my names for things, but I call it a certain type of effect. But this is where I kind of started the Big Dreamers Collective, because I noticed that, when I follow these billionaires, that's what they really talk about, is dreaming big. And there's an effect that happens when you dream big or you do something bigger than what you're used to or what people know you for. And it sparks something that creates this attraction, that creates this magnetization. Mm-hmm. And so by you guys going to Off-Broadway, New York, you're not around the corner on Germantown Ave no more. This is something, you guys have elevated. You guys are there. I want to experience and be a part of this with you. So your network definitely screams that out loud. And then why not go to New York and spend a night in New York and let's be bougie and go to Off-Broadway and go have dinner. You know what I mean? It turns it into a whole nother thing. So
it does, a whole nother experience.
Yeah, by going to another level, guys, as artists, you actually take your people with you to that next level and give them those experiences to enjoy as well. And I'm sure your actors. I mean, I saw the post when they went up there, and I was just happy for everybody in general. Yeah. So
yeah. So that was just a whole amazing experience. She Arts as a theater festival program, so to speak, they're an excellent organization. Wonderful. Excellent organization. They're very supportive. They helped with all the production needs. It was a great experience. And likewise, when we went, now they didn't believe we were going to actually they didn't think we were going to do it.
Yeah, go to LA.
They didn't think. We submitted for LA. They were like,
Philly. How are you going to do this?
I was like, don't worry about that. We're going to get there.
That's right. God got us. We covered.
I took a crew of 18. It was 18 of us that went to LA.
Wow.
You talking about fundraising, and I worked night and day. I worked 6 days straight with 1 day off.
Listen, y'all.
Like 4 months.
That's the other thing about it. I love your grind. I love your grind, and I love the fact that you ladies have gotten into it. And this is, and I'm not going to ask your age or anything like that, but I look at you and I'm just like, y'all are still going. So it ain't no reason It ain't no reason, no excuse on why anybody needs to be moving slow, why anybody needs to be waiting for something. You know, like you said, you grinded your butt off. And a lot of us artists, in order to finance or find the financing for our art and our dreams, that's what we got to do. That's a part of the process.
Nobody's going to give it to us.
Nobody's going to give it to you, you know, unless you really, really want it and you're fundraising in the right capacity. And so this is such a beautiful story. You went from Philly to New York to LA.
To Atlanta.
Atlanta. Oh my
Black
gosh.
Theater Festival too.
I know that's right. So you guys did the entire theater festival circuit outside of Philadelphia.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And
all of them were great experiences too.
I was just going to ask the experience and the turnout, how that, and coming off of all of those, what did that do for not only did it do for your audience, but what did it do for your business site? Like what did it do for your business? Like sometimes things don't work out the way we do. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But sometimes we'll always find ourselves on the end of it and like, what next? What now? You know, like, what do we do now? Like, so talk about after all the dust settled, all the glory was received, where'd you land?
So I like to speak about that on a personal level, because usually when we land, I am
exhausted.
I am the level of exhaustion.
And I know from experience.
Exactly. And even just like we're doing this encore presentation, when we're done, I'll be a wet noodle again. It doesn't matter what production we do. It doesn't matter what festival we do. It doesn't matter if we're in Philly or LA. I put the same energy in every single one.
Yeah, yes, you do.
I give 100 and 1,010 or whatever. The infinity of
and you push through it all. You push
of my energy.
Yeah.
So I'm like done when it's over. So I can speak on that personally. And I've actually like talked to like some of our cast members about it, because we all need like a debriefing after all of it, because we're here. You know, it's a building and we're here and we're up here for so long. For me personally, when it's all done, I crash and I kind of go into a mild depression. It's crazy.
Yeah, so
like,
I understand.
Like you said, what now? Mm-hmm. I'm missing my people, because these are my peoples.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'm like by myself all the time till the next. You know, it's kind of weird how it.
It is. I remember after the theater festival, we were on a group chats and like our rehearsal days were coming up, and somebody was like, I literally was about to get up and get ready for rehearsal and just didn't have it anymore. So it is a thing to come off of. And that's really why I love theater over film, because of the camaraderie that you get, the community that you get to build, the experience that you get to build with a team is really like no other in theater. Film, you can be in and out. It could be very long days. It could be very exhausting. Sometimes you just want to keep to yourself and deal with other people. The process is very laborious.
And one thing I can say on that, with us evolving into film, because what we have created has been such a family-oriented kind of thing. It's like when we're shooting films, it sort of still feels the same way.
That's cool. So you work with the same artists and the same
lot. We tend to. They like to come back. They believe in our work. They love it. And hey.
Well, hey, that's a true testament to how you run your organization. It's a true testament to how you build community, because that's one thing I talk about often is not having a high turnover. When you're able to bring people back, that speaks highly of you. That means you treat people right.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we try. Really we do our best, because, you know, Tiffany and I are not millionaires by far. We don't have a lot, but we give them whatever we can. We try to take care of them on many different levels. We make sure we feed them.
You sure do. And they ain't eating. They not just eating no regular old Little Caesars. They ain't getting no pizza.
We make sure we feed them. We make sure they get there safely, and somebody need gas. But look, we do.
No, I love it. And I remember I learned this lesson a while back ago. Somebody told me, they said, you know, people usually don't quit their jobs. They quit who they work for or who they work with. And so that's a big testimony to your guys' production crew and what you guys have done for so long. And I've seen a lot of the same actors stick around. Shanice is one of my, I love Shanice. I've been working with Shanice for a long time. And I think when I saw her around this time around for the theater festival, I had reached out to her to see if she wanted to play some roles, and she had declined. And so when I finally saw her at the theater working with you, I was like, oh, so this is why you declined it.
That's what we doing. That's what we doing now.
I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. But listen, her one-woman show was off the chain. And so here we guys are, and we're about to wrap this up, but we can't wrap it up without talking about our experience here. And so I'll never forget, when God called on me to he said, do 3 plays. And then, a friend of mine, Courtney, she was just like, well, it just can't be 3 Jared shows. Like, how are we going to market this? And so I said, well, I did it before. I did a festival before, but it wasn't exactly a theater festival. Let's do a theater festival. And I think I put out one post and it got so much recognition. And then I think you had commented on it and say, hey, we here for it. I said, oh, I've been wanting to work with them. And so I think I know I called you up because I remember the conversation. I was in the car. I was on Baltimore Pike at the Red Lobster waiting on that hill. And it was the longest red light. We had a conversation that entire time. And it was such, I've spoken with you before. I've always seen you guys around. You guys have supported my shows. And I know I had to make sure I came out to support your shows. And you guys are the socialites too. So every event that I even went to, you guys were there. I was actually going through my Google photos and I see like all these different pictures of us together. I was like, really? Wow. I'm like, yeah, we saw each other at a couple of different events. We made sure we took a picture.
We believe in supporting everyone. Like, we want to be supported, but we believe in supporting other people. And it's very important for us to support our actors too.
Well, it's imperative. And I think that anybody who doesn't, it shows their character. It really shows their character. Now, hey, I don't blame anybody. I don't look at you any type of differently. I just know what type of person you are. I know what type of artist you are. And I just feel like that social currency will take you a long, long way in the future. My mom always told me, you never burn bridges because you never know who's going to have to give you that handout in the future or pick you up. And so we got together on this theater festival and we worked this thing out, and you guys came and you guys crushed it. We had a lot of technical difficulties, but we pushed through. And I remember praying with you all the way through. We pushed through. And, no matter how, this is the thing about production, no matter how bad it seems on the other side, on the production side or whatever, when we push through and have the show, the audience never knows. The audience never, ever knows. And they, they sing your praises. They love it. It was a beautiful talk back at the end. I know I was sitting in the back of the theater and there were people like, I want to say something. I want to say something. I want to say something. Like, it was just, and so you guys struck a chord. And I love that aspect of it because I've done something called Skits and Conversations where we would have these talkbacks. And I think it is so imperative.
It is because
you grab all of that energy.
Right.
The show.
You open a lot of vessels and you can't just send people home like
you just
that.
Can't quote. Yeah, you just can't steal it all.
Home to and just even commenting on that talkback. We have never had a talkback that long. We always do talkbacks because we always write about the serious stuff, but we've never had a talkback that was that long. Like, the people wanted to stay. Like, it's like they didn't want to leave. I have never seen that. I have never seen it since we've been doing this.
And that speaks to the experience, and it was, and more people still wanted to talk back. Like, people were telling me afterwards, well, I felt this. I was like, the show is over. I gotta be here.
I don't know where you're going, but you got to go.
We have a job to do. Let's do it well, into perfection, into excellence. God deserves it. God deserves it. Let's surrender it all. It is no longer us. It is all God. So let your gifts penetrate everything in you. Nobody will fall because we all will be each other's crutch.
You ever dream of dreams so real it changed you to your core? Leaving an imprint of new ideas and brand new stories never told? Tapping into your unlimited consciousness, continuously cultivating countless opportunities? Bottomless motivation towards a future only dreams could provide. A future where your true reality lies. But it's not easy. Constant resistance, overwhelming obstacles, changing relationships, pure pressure, fueling our process to create the rarest diamond in the rough. But there ain't no genie here. Just passion and drive to look upon the beautiful sky and breathe. Being supported hand in hand in unbreakable stance, a collection of joy, hard work, patience, pulling together to open that window, to pass through that door. We are the collective, and we dream big collectively.
I was shocked. I was rather blown away by that. Never saw that before yet.
But it talks to the beauty of your art, the beauty of your mission, and the beauty of your heart. You know, and I love you guys do it differently. You have the DJ, you guys come out to, why am I forgetting? Because it's not Hit 'em Up.
Yeah.
Annie Up. Annie Up. You guys.
That's our theme song from the poetry shows.
I love it because it's all raw hip hop energy. I'm all hip hop all day. I love it. And guys, so you are in for a treat when you come check out any of the Collective Mic, any of their work, any of Jody or Tiffany's shows. They're just beautiful pieces of art that will stimulate your mind. And I'm blessed to have been a part of your work with the theater festival and being able to see you guys from the ground and just see your community, how you build. It's just a beautiful thing. I can't wait to work with you guys again. Just magical. But I love your community. I love how I see the same artists year after year coming back. And I'm just praying for the longevity of your guys' situation. I'm praying for, just the fruit to just bear just overabundantly and fall to the ground and stacks up. We're gonna claim that right there because you have put your work in, and you continue to put your work in. And I'm seeing you guys now. You guys have a show. This interview is probably going to air after your show, but you guys have a show coming up, and it's a show that you performed at the Jasai Theatre Festival. But talk about that a little bit, and then talk about bringing that back up and bringing that back on, and what the excitement that you feel going into this.
Yes, very excited to do it again. This is an encore presentation because we got a lot of feedback when we did the festival with you guys, because unfortunately it was on a night that, people were, I got to go to work the next day and blah, blah, blah.
You guys got the Thursday night slot. We're not doing that to you no more. I got you. I made the promise. No more Thursday night slot.
It's not like that's never happened to us and we've crushed it every time, but
Well, and I'm gonna tell you personally, I'm sorry, but hold that thought, because I love doing events on Thursday nights. And I just scheduled another event, a Black business mixer that I'm going to be doing on a Thursday night. The reason being is because I'm like, there's absolutely no competition. On Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
That's true.
Really competing with a lot of different events, and people are going to make their choice, who they're going to support. And so Thursday nights, I love Thursday nights because there's no but you do deal with that. I got to go to work the next day. Coming right off of work. So that is the conundrum with it for sure.
Do something different.
Right.
Try something different.
But yes, this is an encore presentation.
So it is an encore presentation from the festival, and it's going to be the same show, and we're really excited. We do like the Rotunda, very warm environment. I love Gina Renzi. Shout out to her. She's very accommodating. So it's a very intimate, interactive setting, Black Box Stage. I'm excited. We have some vendors. It's going to be a great show.
Amen.
It's going to be a great show. I'm excited to death. So our goal with an evening of shorts, every time we produce it, we're going to produce it with newer works.
Okay.
So the next time we do it, the 4 shorts will be exchanged out with something else.
I love it. So you're sticking with the evening of shorts theme.
Yeah, it's like we've developed a nice framework.
I love it.
And we're going to stick with the framework and just, plug it in, plug it out. And it also gives us an opportunity to feature a new work from someone in our community.
I was just going to ask that. Okay.
So, for example, the piece that Shanice did.
Yes.
That was a new work that was written actually by one of my other best friends. She's a poet and writer also.
Okay.
And we helped her. We coached her through all the stages. We helped her develop the piece and get it ready for production.
Amen. And you know what? We always skip this, and almost an hour in, you guys also do a writing workshop. You also have a writing workshop for writers.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes, on Wednesdays we have a weekly writer circle where we gather artists. It doesn't matter what your genre of art is, but just the opportunity to sit down and fellowship and be inspired.
Amen.
Like if you do a 15-minute writing prompt, even if you're a photographer, it could spark some inspiration, some motivation. Yeah. We also brainstorm. We help people develop their ideas and coach them. We do a lot of coaching in that way. Coach them in how they want to do their project, give them ideas. We'll help them develop the whole thing.
I love it. You guys are doing such a great work. Go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when we do encore, when we do an evening of shorts again, we're going to feature another poets or another artist or writers first time, where it'll be their first time production. So I'm excited.
So this go around, are you introducing any new artists, or are they're the same pieces?
Only in a sense. We are going to actually have a host. Remember when you introduced us, we actually have a good friend of mine. He does hosting. He's a comedian, blah, blah, that kind of thing. So he's going to be hosting the show. And then, you know how Tiffany did poetry in between the pieces? Mm-hmm. We have a featured poet who's going to do poetry in between.
Nice. Right. Awesome. So, that was a funny story. I pull up when you guys asked me to go up there, and I'm like, okay, sure. Right. I'm like, okay, I love going on the spot. I could not find my shoes.
That was funny. You could have came on barefoot. You know that grounds you.
Listen, and I was about to do it. I'm walking up because I'm like, you guys are calling me up, and I'm walking up. I threw on my pants. I threw on this blazer, and I cannot find my shoes. I'm like screaming to the top of my lungs, where are my shoes? And so I'm literally about to go up there barefooted. And I looked down at one of the guys who was helping me out, Q, and with the background stuff. I look down, I see his shoes, and I'm like, "Give me your shoes." He's like, "What?" I said, "Give me your shoes right now." Mind you, I wear a size 9. He wears like 11. So I'm flopping around in these big old bozo shoes. I'm almost tripped going up the step. And I got this one picture in this video, and all I can do is stare at my feet because it looks extra awkward. My feet are like 8 feet out away from me.
That's hilarious.
Wearing these shoes.
That's hilarious.
Of course, when I go out, my wife is just standing there at the back of the theater with my shoes. I'm like, where were they? She's like, I forgot I put them in the ticket booth.
Oops.
I'm like, give me my shoes.
That's funny. That's actually happened before to me too, behind the scenes. But I gave somebody my shoes.
I got stories. I got stories for days about.
People only knew what goes on behind the scenes.
If they only knew. All right, Jody.
If they only knew.
This has been a great wrap up interview. But go on. What were you going to say? Please.
I was just going to say, so that's our goal with an evening of shorts, and I really still feel like it is in line with you doing an annual festival. We could just plug that in.
Yes.
Should you select us again, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed and saying lots of prayers for that. So, and then next year, we plan to produce independently again, our fuller length plays. So, but we just wanted to get back out there, Yeah. And next year, between now and next year, we're going to be pivoting back into film as well. We had to first get our feet back in on theater, because that's our roots. That's where you grow from. And then we're going to get back into our film too.
I love it. So
and we're like marrying film and theater together. Like a lot of our work has even evolved in that way. We're doing like stills and film clips on this. I love the hybrid of theater and film together on the stage. It's absolutely beautiful.
I love it. And you guys are doing something totally different with that. I love how you guys are merging the two.
Yes.
It's something beautiful. And so before we go into our fire round question, I want to end it, what do you have to say to the artists out there that is nervous to begin? They don't feel like people will show up and support. We've been there, right? They don't know where to begin. They don't know where to start. Their voices is sticking right there in their throat. They step up to the mic and their voice is scratchy. They don't know, what do you have to say to the artist that just is too afraid to start?
Surround yourself around like-minded individuals. Surround yourself around supportive and creative people, and that will help you find your voice.
Amen. Amen. And for the person, because I love that advice, it's the best advice. How do you find that like-minded community? How do you find those people?
You kind of just have to sort of just seek it out. You got to ask questions. I'm an Eastern Star. Not a lot of people know that, but there's this famous quote with
really my great grandmother's an Eastern Star.
Yeah, I got Mason in 2000. But there's this famous quote amongst Masons: to ask one, to know one is to ask one, to be one, ask one. So you have to surround yourself around those creative people and ask those questions, those important questions. And a lot of times people can lead you in the right direction. You can look on social media, and Meetup is a very good source.
Okay.
I've met a lot of great creatives that way. When you go on meetup.com and put in the categories that you're looking for, you'll be surprised what's going on in Philly. That's not even being advertised.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And that's why I had to, that's why I had to dig deeper into that question, because when we answer them from our experience, that's what we did to get out there. Right. But a lot of people, especially if they're, why am I forgetting all extroverts? If they're introverted, they're not out there. But I love how you said you got to just ask the question. Everything really starts with the general question, because once you ask yourself that question, the universe will start to answer it. You put that question into prayer, God's going to answer your prayers. And like you said, it's going to guide you to certain forms. So you got that, you guys, you heard that. Meetup.com. There are different Facebook groups out there. Once again, start asking questions. I remember when I was doing my very first play, I didn't know too many actors. I went to school with a bunch of actors, but they weren't acting anymore. And so I literally went through my phone book and I text everybody, hey, do you know any actors? Now, of course, my circle, I had so many funny responses back. I think my one cousin was like, Jared, you know full well I don't know no dang actors. Are you coming over for dinner tomorrow or what? Like, why are you bothering me about actors? Oh, boy, stop playing with me. And so there was a running joke at the family dinner table, like, Jared talking to us about actors. He know that he the only actor we know. From that, I was able to cast a show because a few people did know some actors. And that's how I met Jerome. That's how I met a lot of people that I still am close with today. So I love how you said, just ask the question.
Ask. You'd be surprised at the answer. The worst they can say is no, and then you just move on to the next. The
worst thing they can say is no. My one of the strongest things my aunt ever taught me was that if you ask a question, the answer can always be no. The answer could be yes or no. So don't be upset when you hear that no. Like, because I think we sometimes, in certain signs, they get real mad. They're like, what do you mean no? What do you mean you're not going to do? What do you mean no? And it's just like, guys, you can't know. The answer can be yes or no. Just as much as it could be yes, it could be no. So, and when I'm always a big advocate when one door closes, multiple doors
another one opens.
So you need to, not just another one, but multiple, because I've seen it, So thank you so much for
I think the person needs to be willing to push past their comfort zone too.
All the time. You don't, every level of promotion, you become a student again. And so your comfort zone is locking you into a paradigm that you're just used to. And so when it gets uncomfortable, that's how you're kind of moving in the right direction. It's just like when you pour antiseptic on a wound or open wound, right? If it don't sting, there ain't nothing really occurring there, right? If it ain't no discomfort, there's not really healing occurring, right? And so, we got to remember in the natural law, all of those things are true. And so just thank you. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your story. I know so many people are going to be greater for it. Thank you for your art. People are greater for it already. Thank you just for blessing everybody the way that you do, Jody. You truly are a beacon of light in this community. And I love how you keep going. I love how you keep pushing. Your body be aching. You be going through sickness. I mean, I think 2 days before you had your dog. It was a lot, but you pushed through, and it is one of the most admirable acts I witnessed in this Philly art scene. And so, just from artist to artist, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And keep pushing. I can't wait to see the Collective Mic. Where do you see the Collective Mic in 5 years?
Oh, man. Honestly, I see us in LA.
Okay.
Getting booked. I see us on Broadway getting booked.
I love it. And there it is. We put it out there. So there it is. Somebody's going to see this interview. Somebody's going to see your show. Somebody's going to see it, and they're going to know that it's good work and they're standing on good ground. Good ground. Yep. All right, here we go. Fire round questions. You got 5 seconds to answer. Here we go. I think I know the answer to this one. What song gets you hyped?
Annie Up.
Annie Up. Do you have a routine before you go on stage, and what is it?
My routine is 10 deep breaths.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Where do you find the most peace?
At home, meditating.
Love it. Likewise, when it's totally quiet, right? Absolutely nobody to bother. What's the worst job you ever had?
McDonald's when I was 15.
Yo, I worked at McDonald's at 15 too, Children's Hospital.
Didn't we all?
Didn't we all, right? What is the best advice? What is the best job you ever had?
My job in the military.
Oh, you got it right at the second. All right. Best advice you ever received?
From my mom to never lower your standards.
I love it. Who's your favorite actor?
My favorite actor?
Yes.
Jeffrey Wright.
Okay. I love it.
I mean, I got a list. I can't lie.
What's the first role you ever auditioned for? What's the first thing you ever auditioned for?
For Jillian Bullock's full-length film, I do a little acting. I've been in a few shorts, but I was in a full length with Jillian, her film, Jillian Bullock. I was the waitress.
Okay. All right.
I can't remember the name of the film right now.
It's all good.
Pretty good. Amen. I was nervous, but I did pretty good. I remember my whole 6 lines.
I know that's right. You still got them to this day. Ready for them to call you back. What's one thing you can't live without?
Water.
Amen. It's the simple things now, ain't it?
It is, and I really truly believe it. Like, it's the simple things.
It is. And last question. What is the last thing that you Googled?
The last thing that I Googled was dancers, black ballerinas.
Oh, what'd you find?
Our girl.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. My daughter.
It's been a long day already. I've been up since 5 o'clock. So
yes, it is time for your nap. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, she's been up since that early, working. Come home, does an interview, about to take a quick nap, and then run into rehearsal for a show. This lady is just that's what makes her phenomenal. Let's just put it that way. And thank you so much, Jody, for taking your
Thanks
time.
For having me.
Yes. Before we wrap this up, before we leave, please tell everybody where they can find all of your information. They can find out all about you in the Collective Mic. Please drop all the labels here so we can make sure that you are tagged and reposted.
Okie doke. Family Poetry Collective. If you're a poet or a writer and you're interested in writing and working out your work, it is a private group, but you can request it. I'll interview you and then we'll get you to writing. On social media, the Collective Mic Productions is our Facebook page. The Collective Mic Productions is our Instagram page. And we are now on TikTok.
Amen. Now
Mic Productions, finally.
But you guys were on TikTok way before that personally, because you guys got a couple of nice hits. So you're finally on there with the Collective Mic. Okay.
Yes, finally. And then me personally, I'm Jody True Story Austin. That's TRU, no E. True Story Austin. And my artist, I do have an artist page. I just haven't shared it in a while. It's just called True Story, TRU Story. And the same thing on Instagram. And that's pretty much all our handles right now, where our website is under construction.
Okay.
So that'll be coming soon. But just reach out. Our email is thecollective2014@gmail.com.
Well, guys, you got it all there. You got the best of Jody, one half of the Collective Mic, her partner, Tiffany Dean. They are a dynamic duo that is just a force to be reckoned with here in the artistic scene of Philadelphia. So I know you will enjoy their work. Please stay tuned to all of their handles and make sure you go support their shows wherever they are, Atlanta, LA, or New York. Broadway. So wherever you are, just make sure that you go show love and support. Go follow them. Guys, you will not be disappointed by their body of work. It is beautiful. And Jody, thank you for taking your time. Thank you for finally, I'm so happy we were able to get this together. It's been a long time.
Yes.
Both of our schedules are crazy, and I'm glad we were able to get this done today. Jody, it has been a blessing to hear your story and your testimony. I know people are grateful for it, and I just can't wait to see what the future holds. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. All right, everybody, that is Interviews with Your Brandman. This is Jody Austin of Collective Mic, and you'll know where to follow him. Just go there, follow, and thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, guys, peace and blessings.
I made it come up. I made it come up. I made it come up.